When I married Albert, a widower, with a 20-year-old son named Peter, it thought I was stepping into a beautiful, blended family. Albert was everything I'd dreamed of in a husband, kind, loving, and protective Peter. Though reserved at first, was polite and appeared to welcome me into his life. Our family dynamics were seemingly normal at the beginning. Albert and I had a tradition of watching movies together on Friday nights away. To connect after busy weeks, over time, Peter started joining us at first. I welcomed his company, believing it was a step toward bonding as a family. But as the weeks went on, something about Peter's behavior began to unsettle me. His casual compliments started feeling too personal. "You have great taste in clothes," Lily he'd say, or "You look amazing tonight." While the words seemed harmless, there was a tone in his voice and a look in his eyes that made me uneasy. I tried to brush it off, convincing myself that I was reading too much into it. After all, Peter had been through a lot, losing his mother and adjusting to me, stepping into the family. Perhaps he was just trying to build a connection in his own way. However, his actions began crossing boundaries. He sit closer than necessary. During movie nights, finding excuses to touch my hand when passing the popcorn, or brush against me when walking by. It wasn't overt enough to confront him directly, but it left me feeling uncomfortable. At the same time, James's behavior also began to shift. He became more possessive, demanding more of my time and attention. "You spent so much effort trying to connect with Peter," he said one evening, his voice tinged with jealousy. "Don't forget, I'm your husband." James's insecurity led to him questioning me about my whereabouts or showing up unexpectedly when I was out with friends. His actions, once endearing, started to feel stifling. I felt like I was being pulled in two different directions, both of them vying for my attention in ways that left me emotionally drained. The tipping point came one evening. During a family dinner, Peter made a comment about how much he appreciated having me around his eyes, lingering on me longer than they should have. Albert noticed and snapped, accusing Peter of being disrespectful. Peter, in turn, lashed out, accusing his father of being overly controlling and not valuing me enough. I sat there, stunned, as the two most important men in my life argued over me as if I were a trophy. The tension had been simmering for weeks, and now it had reached a boiling point. "I can't do this anymore," I said. My voice trembled. "I'm not an object for either of you to control or fight over. I need space to think." That night, I packed a small bag and left the house. I stayed with a close friend while I tried to sort through my emotions. I knew I needed to set boundaries for both Albert and Peter and figure out how to reclaim my own sense of self. Over the next few weeks, I sought therapy to process everything I had been through. I realized that while James's love for me had turned possessive, Peter's behavior had crossed lines that made me deeply uncomfortable. I confronted James about his jealousy and explained that it was damaging our relationship. I also had a candid conversation with Peter, making it clear that his actions were inappropriate and could not continue. In the end, I decided to move out temporarily to give myself the clarity it needed. Some relationships can only thrive with mutual respect and understanding, and that was something it needed to rebuild with Albert, if at all possible. As for Peter, I hoped he would take the time to reflect on his actions and learn to respect boundaries. Walking away from the situation wasn't easy, but it was necessary. It was a reminder that sometimes loving yourself means stepping away from relationships that no longer feel healthy, even if it's painful in the moment.